So where do most coaches go wrong? Well, most coaches do not do real strength training. Again, they drop back to aerobic circuits. 30 push-ups here, 1 minute rest. 30 push-ups here, 1 minute rest. That's not strength training, that's endurance training. It's aerobic circuit training. So they do not do real strength training. They will really help the muscles. Then into resistance training. So they're all going to follow a similar pattern. We've got press-ups, we're going to have a squat, we're going to have a lunge type exercise. So here is a one-legged lunge, freestanding. You'll see your players will be abysmal at this exercise, yet it's vitally important as far as running goes. So the more you develop this with your players, the better functional strength they'll have on their pitch. Then we've got back raises here, hands by the head, just lifting this up as we're strengthening the players and their backside of their body as well as their chest. Again, this static lunge should be easy, but you'll see player after player struggling with this. And in phase one exercise, we're worried about your weakest players not being strong enough. And that's the idea behind it. One arm raising, the wider the feet are, the easier it is. The closer the hands are, the easier it is. You'll see on the videos later on, but you don't want people's hips shifting all over the place. You want it to be fairly strong. But let's have a look how players are done in the real field. So again, with push-ups, you'll often find people can't get their chest to the ground. So it's about ensuring that they can and hold their back still. If it is, remember with these routines, you might do 2, 3, 4 sets. So you're trying to get them tired 10 to 15, but you might get a few sets done. So again, remember I talked about the split squat. This is a phase one. You can see they're all good at push-ups, but look at this here on the split squat. This is just as easy. It's probably easier than a push-up, a split squat. And you can see players unable to balance. Look how low that guy's getting on the left there. We just had number 5 lose his balance. So you've got a very simple exercise. It's easier than a push-up, but because nobody does these, you can see their balance just falls apart. Take a look at the guy in the scrum cap. He's going into a game of rugby and he can't even lunge to the floor. He looks all over the place. That's not preparation to be optimal on the field of play. Again, one of the problems you'll find with this exercise is you'll see players bouncing. So you don't want them to use momentum. You want them to go slow and to use their muscles. So you'll see a lot of players bouncing. These players are being fairly well disciplined, which is good, and obviously it's in slow motion, so that does add to things. Now here's that one-legged squat I was telling you. Just take a look at some of this technique. This guy in the middle is very good, but everybody else is pretty much awful. Guy in the green socks, what's that? He's gone down 3 inches, and he's expected to drive and tackle players. You can see the winger Marcelo losing his balance there. So you're expecting these guys to sprint. You're expecting these guys to tackle. They can't do a one-legged squat. It's just showing the underlying weaknesses in your players. The balance, the locked joints, the lack of strength. When you develop this, you'll see different athletes on the field of play. Now, great fun exercise is to use partner-based exercises. So here we've got a push duel. So basically your hands on each other's chests, and then we push 5 seconds, stop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop. And then we're pushing, and then we stop. Maybe it's 3 seconds there, that's fine. The idea is that it's the push. Both players are pushing each other. These two guys aren't really pushing, but these two guys here, they were going at it good, real good push. Again, these two guys pushing nicely. So you're hitting out reps, 3 to 5 seconds, stop. 3 to 5 seconds, stop. So you're recreating weight training, but with partners on a rugby field. Then we've got a one-handed push drill here, where we're going to be next to each other, side by side, and we're pushing to see who can push the opponent back. We're not going to be doing this. This is just leaning on. I really don't know what they were doing. The idea is here, those two guys are getting it done, pushing nicely, pushing with force. They're upright. They're not using their body. This is just leaning on. What the heck is that? That's not a strength exercise. It looks like they're dancing. They're not gaining nothing from that. They're just offsetting each other's weight. The idea is these two guys here, they are pushing each other. You can see the bigger guys with the two-legged stance and the smaller guys with the split stance. So this means they have equal strength because it's harder for the bigger guy with the split things.